Hello, my friends. Welcome back. In today's video, we want to talk about the basic CSS selectors. So when I talk about the basic CSS selectors, it means that, okay, like there is something else that we can also do with these basic selectors. In today's video, I just want to walk you through like four of the most basic ones, and then we can like merge them somehow together to make more complicated ones. The first one that we will be talking about is the universal selector. The syntax for that would be just the asterisk sign with like curly brackets, right? We will see in a second how they are used in an actual code. The next one that we will be talking about is the type selector. As you can see, like there's a tag name, for example, h1 or h2 or whatever tag, or like a paragraph tag or something, followed by a curly brackets again. And then we have the class selector, right? Which the syntax for which is like dot or period, and then followed by the class name, whatever you want to call the class. And then the last one that we will be talking about today is the ID selector. It's like a hashtag or like a pound sign and followed by the ID name. Again, curly brackets, right? So this is what we will be talking about. Let's get started. If I open my the HTML file and we start writing here, right? As always, we just want to do that. It creates this for us. And then here we go, if you remember, we go style, right? And in the style, we want to like add our CSS. So I'm just going to go here and be like, the CSS goes here, right? So let's just like put something in here. So we have like a few things that we can deal with. So h1, h1, and then this is h1, for example, and then I'll just go another h1, and this is the second h1. Let's just like change that to first h1. This is the first h1, and then like we can go p. This is our paragraph, and yeah, that should be good probably. So here in the style, we want to add the CSS and see what's going to change, right? For the universal selector, as I said, like it's the asterisk sign. So if I go here and then like curly brackets, right? And inside, if I go, for example, background is, I don't know, green, for example, right? As you can see, it's applied to everything. Like the background for all of them is set to green, right? So this is like what you put in here, whatever CSS style that you're using here is going to be applied to everything that you have in your HTML file. In this case, like we have h1, like two h1s and like p and stuff like that. Let's just like add an h2 just for the sake of, having an h2 here. So h2, and then this is the, this is h2. Okay, sounds good. So as you can see, like it's applied to everything that we have here. The other selector that we talked about was the type selector, right? So if I go here and say, for example, p is that, right? As you can see, I like purposefully, I didn't change the stars so that you can see only the background for this sky is now changing, right? And like everything else is just like as normal. And so like if you have more than one piece, right? So if I change that, for example, to h1, right? It looks for all the h1s that you have and keeps changing the background color for them, in this case to green, right? Doesn't matter which one, it's just like applies, it's universal. It's just like applies it to that specific type that you define here, right? So if you have like tens of thousands of h1s in your HTML file, they're all going to be green background, right? The other one is the class. So, so if I go here and change this, and if you remember, I said dot and then the class name, right? I can just go green. So my class name is green. So now I go here in my HTML file. if I want to change something, let's say I want to change like this one in here, right? All I need to do is to go class equals, and then the name of the class. What did I call that? Green. So I'm just going to call that green, right? And then like it should apply the change, right? And we'll see in a second why it's not doing this. The computer was just being slow. I just needed to like enter something so it gets it. So if you want this class to be applied, right, the changes that like you specify in this class, in this case, again, we want to change the background to green, right? So I can like take this class thingy and add it to whatever I want. Like I can just like go here and do the same thing, be like, okay, my paragraph is like green, and like it does the same thing. As you can see, changes are applied here. So the good thing about this is that like you can define a class and then use it as many times as you want in whatever element that you want, right? So for example, here you want this element h1 not to be green, but like the second h1 to be green. So like this is an easy way of doing that. So this is about the class selectors. And the other thing that we wanted to talk about was the ID selector, right? And so it's basically like this. So I'm not going to change the name, but if you remember, it was the right syntax for that, right? The hashtag sign or the pound sign, whatever you call that, right? So all you need to do is just to follow the same syntax as before, but again, with this sign now, and then you can just go here and then go my ID equals green, right? So you see that like this is green. The only thing that you need to know about the ID selector is that you may think that, okay, so this is just like the class selector. So what's the biggest difference here? And the answer to that is that you can only have one ID, right? So when you set the ID, right, it can only be, so when I say ID green, none of the other elements here can have that ID, right? You cannot have like this h1 set also as an ID too. So just like one element in a single HTML file, right? So in this entire file, there can only be one element that is using this ID, not more than one, okay? Hopefully this is clear. And this is all I wanted to tell you about the basic selectors, right? In the next video, I'll be showing you how we can, combine these and make something more complicated out of it. Make sure that like you get enough practice about this and you memorize the syntax and like learn what's going on here exactly. And then you can obviously, like in this video, I only played with the background, right? You can change that. Like you can, I don't know, like align the paragraph differently, like put the paragraph in the center, right? That could be a really good example. Or change the color of the text, right? Like here, everything was black, right? And then we changed the background. So try to like, I don't know, for example, this H2 element, right? Try to type it in red or yellow or whatever color that you want, right? We've done this before in the previous videos, so you probably, if you've been following the videos, you should be able to do that. If not, it's always a good practice to do a little Google search and see how we can do that. If you had any problems, just let me know in the comments. I'll be more than happy to answer your questions. If you found this video helpful, please give us a like and follow and subscribe to the channel if you haven't yet. That's a big help. And again, thank you for watching this. You guys have a good one. Take care. See you all in the next video. Bye-bye.